All right, the monkey's saying something went wrong, but I'm going to assume we are good to go live. Welcome to HOD Pod, an unofficial podcast about HBO's House of the Dragon. I am Sir Benjamin of David.
And I'm Steven.
You're not a sir, you're not of anything. No, I'm just kidding. He's just Steven. As you can see, we have one mic today. Hopefully we'll have more now. This is the first intro episode, as you could tell, so we're a little out of sorts, but we will have two mics next time. That is a promise. I can't promise the show will be good, but we will have two mics. So again, House of the Dragons podcast. We are recording live here on YouTube from Davincis Dreamworks 2 here in sunny Jensen Beach, Florida. Tell them about the store here, Steven.
So it's just a friendly local game store. We got comics, games, everything. And me. I'm always here.
And this is totally original, recording a podcast, a nerdy podcast out of a comic store, I know. But it is sweet to have an official home, man. I really enjoy this. Like I have the kind of the pro studio here in Florida, but yeah, man, it's dope having a studio with more character. So thank you for hosting us.
Oh, you're welcome, Benjamin.
Awesome. So yeah, Steven here runs Davincis Dreamworks 2. Again, thank you for hosting us. And he also knows way more than I do about George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire. I personally have not read any of the books. Steven has. So he's going to be a much better resource than I am. But I do love my television. I do love my film. So yeah, I think we'll be good co-hosts.
Oh yeah, except for season 8, right? You didn't love that one.
I love season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Me too. It was quite good.
Oh man, I'm doing my rewatch right now, guys, and wow, obviously preparing for the show. And when we have the episode 1, the show proper, I will have watched the whole series because weirdly I started at season 2. So even though I'm about to finish season 8, I'm coming up in season 1. Point is, I will be done on my regular Thrones rewatch by the time we're done, because that's obviously important. I mean, this is a prequel series that we're going to be talking about 200 years before Thrones, right?
Yeah, just before the fall of the throne. Is how they've been advertising it.
Yeah, before the fall of the throne, which is the
lights it on fire.
Wow, the things I am glad I forgot about the end of that show.
That's why I'm here to remind you.
Yeah. Oh my God. And for better or worse, it will be fresh in my mind when we watch. I kind of wish a lot of that wasn't, but I need to be somewhat of a resource. And yeah. So, again, I have not read the book. Steven has. You can catch new episodes with us live every Monday at 11 EST here on YouTube. So that's going to be pretty cool. I know we're not, this isn't Monday, 11 a.m. right now, but the show proper, when we are doing the after show of the actual, House of the Dragon, that's going to be on Monday, 11 a.m. So definitely subscribe for now here on the YouTube channel, Above and Batman Beyond. That's youtube.com/Above and Batman Beyond. But also subscribe to audio. Of course, it is a podcast. Apple, Spotify, wherever you guys listen to podcasts. Yeah, man. So let's jump into it. Steven, we're going to talk about a couple things today. All right. We're going to talk about the trailer itself. We got a House of the Dragon trailer, about a month plus ago, right?
Yeah, and then the second trailer and the final trailer they showed.
Right. Yeah, so we've had a couple, yeah. There was also a teaser.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I saw the teaser for the first time within the past couple of days. So there's a lot to talk about in terms of what's been released, and trailers, teasers, like we said. We also have predictions, of course. This is an interesting one because it's, again, a prequel series. It's also so far, I don't want to get into details now because, again, I'm setting them up. We are about to jump in, but without getting into details right now, it is cool because this is such a non-traditional prequel, let's call it, because it's not like a Star Wars prequel. It's only 20, 30 years before that, because we all know how good the Star Wars prequels were. It's kind of a unique prequel, so I'm looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, I believe the setting that they're going with is 101 AC, so it's after Conquest. And then we talked about they're doing an actual time skip. They're not doing flashbacks.
Yeah, there's going to be a time jump, a 10-year time jump apparently, halfway through it. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff to talk about in terms of kind of the structure of the show, let's call it, the style of the show. And then we have some other potential fun segments, such as Dragon Deadpool, guys, all right? We have... Which dragon you're gonna bet on dying or not dying, right? So we got the Deadpool live from the dragon pit, all kinds of ideas for dragon stuff.
Oh yeah. So the showrunner says that season 1 we're gonna get 9 of the 17 House Targaryen dragons. So I guess, and they haven't confirmed the list. We can kind of guess some of them from the trailer based on the vibrant colors. George R. R. Martin wanted them to be very bright and vibrant and different this time instead of just copy pasta dragon slight hue increase. It's like, okay. Well, we got some actual dragons, so we need to see which ones are going to be in there. We got some guesses and maybe see which ones get good kills. It looked like in the trailer, Sea Smoke is attacking the steps, and that did not happen in the book Fire and Blood.
This is when Steven gets to push up his glasses.
Yeah. So very interesting because we know that they are changing some stuff, and I think they intend to use the dragons a little bit more. I mean, it's the House of the Dragons. I mean, they live there; it's their home. We gotta use them.
So cool, just the amount of times he just said dragon. It gets me so excited. All right, so I have notes of my own, but let's, I guess, talk about the trailers real quick, right? That's kind of the most relatable thing everyone probably wants to. If you're tuning into a podcast right now about House of the Dragon, that's what we've gotten so far. So let's hit a little bit of the trailers. So, yeah, what do you got?
They tell us.
You can hold it from here.
Yeah, sure. They tell us a lot pretty early. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, you got me? All right. So they tell us a little bit in the trailer. So we know that the whole idea is that it's the question of who the heir is going to be for Viserys, who's the current king. If they're starting exactly where they're going to be, which is 101, then the idea is that he's having to choose between his brother to be the heir or his daughter because he does not have any sons, and that's the main point.
I can't be expected to choose between my brother and daughter. I love that line from the trailer.
Yeah, they used it in all of them, I think. So that's what we're doing. We're basically dealing with that. Obviously, Matt Smith's character, Daemon Targaryen, he does not like that he's being usurped. There's a lot of stuff about him in the books. He gets all these positions, like on the council, but Otto Hightower doesn't like him, and he gets booted off the council. Then he's in charge of the City Watch. He's the one who actually makes the gold cloaks. That's where we get that term from in Game of Thrones. Okay. Yeah, because all of his dudes wear it, and it can look all awesome. Why is the police? Basically, Rhaenyra is the daughter, so she's the one looking to be the heir. And at this point in time, they do not let a woman become the heir of the Iron Throne. So this is where the contention is coming from.
Nice, yeah. Matt Smith, as we all know, Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
Not Last Night in Soho and that other stuff. But no, Matt Smith, yeah, he looks pretty badass, man. All right, but yeah, aside from that, like I don't want to get into specifics yet with kind of my general thoughts on the trailer. I'll start with that. So, first of all, I was telling you I have like a rule of I don't watch Game of Thrones trailers. And then he and I are gearing up for the podcast. He's like, we're about to start a podcast. You got to watch the trailer. So I watched the trailer. So I broke my rule for you people, just for you people. Not for Steven, not for me, just you. And Ben, I was impressed. The first thing that hit me, because Steven and I watched it together because he made me watch it here at the shop the other day, and it was the music.
Oh, yeah.
So Ramin Djawadi, right?
I believe so.
Dude, like, he's the guy who did the music from the first show. That opening map is... I was lamenting like crazy. Of the many things about Season 8, I don't think enough people bring up the intro being changed. It's like the one constant. Anytime the show could be weak, it's like, at least we have that opening map. And the music, that's, 80% credit to the music. It's just... so amazing. And the music throughout the show, like the show, especially, you can really tell, again, not to harp on bad things, to really highlight the work of Ramin Djawadi, is that, like, you could tell in Season 8 when things start to fall off and get weird tonally is when you can, like, really notice this kind of Ren Fair music. And because before that, his music and the themes for each, either Winterfell, for Khaleesi, I mean, so beautiful, so powerful. I mean, when that Khaleesi music swells, almost every time I either choke up or tear up. Seeing those dragons, hearing that music, and again, that opening map is just absolutely everything for me. So the fact that he's on this music, and again with that trailer, real percussive. I believe the music changed a little bit from season 1 in the opening map. It gets a little more percussive, right?
Yeah, it gets a little more percussive, and it kind of carries on from then until season 8.
Dude, like that guy is seriously, I have been listening, especially with this podcast coming up, almost every day. I listen to that theme when I get in my car. It just pumps me up. I know I'm not the only one who does that, but like, I just love the music. So right off the bat, I'm so happy that he's on board. It's interesting because this is a prequel, so there's people who you can bring back, production. Obviously you can't bring back actors, but you can bring back as many production people as you kind of want, right? So we have directors coming back, we have producers coming back, as we know.
Well, one of the co-showrunners, he's the guy who did most of the really cool battle scenes that we liked, like the episode for Battle of the Bastards.
That's Sapochnik, right?
Yes. Okay. So and he's done most of the really good episodes. So that'll be really interesting to see what he's got.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Battle of Winterfell, Hardhome he did, I believe.
Yes. Hardhome and, the Battle of Winterfell. Those are the main ones that always come to my mind.
Right, dude, Hardhome. So what was it, 2015 that probably was around?
I think so.
My routine was always since you guys... Oh, and by the way, this is a Game of Thrones podcast. House of the Dragon podcast on a Batman. Did I mention the fact that we're on a Batman channel right now? And I know this is non-traditional for our channel. Anyway.
Batman's Road to Dragon. You rode a Joker Dragon. And you got Dark Knights of Steel. This is a Dark Knights of Steel podcast.
That's right. This is a podcast all about the Dark Knights of Steel comic by Tom Taylor. No, but so what was I just talking about?
You're talking about the returning people who worked on the show.
Yes, thank you. So it's interesting that so Hardhome. My routine, this is how much I used to love Game of Thrones. Every Friday, real quick, it was come home from teaching. On my way home, I would, literally from work, I wouldn't stop anywhere, still wearing my tie and everything, pick up barbecue. It would be ribs, brisket, all this stuff. Take it home and watch Thrones, witness murder, and just eat, meat off the bone. It was just very primal, very male. It was awesome. And I'll never forget Hardhome. I was literally I had a rib in my mouth, and then I was just on my feet when he steps with the Valyrian steel and just shatters that White Walker. And I was out loud by myself, yes! That is television at its effing best. So if that dude is directing... Is he just one of their kind of main directors, or is he a executive producer?
He's listed as co-showrunner, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, that's right. All right, we're good. Yeah, I'm about to open it here on IMDb, so we have everything here. But dude, the fact that guy, geez. Anyway, so I just tell that to kind of show my enthusiasm for Thrones and how excited I am for that guy to be working on the show.
Oh, they're working with George R.R. Martin more so than they were with Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
So far he's been in a lot of interviews lately because he's been working closely with them, and he had some requests to make. I know there was, I believe it's Jaehaerys II was not included in the lore for a Game of Thrones, and so they're making sure to include him for House of the Dragon. I know we're supposed to see Jaehaerys, I think he was on the cast list, and he requested that the dragons are more vibrant in color because the descriptions of the book are pretty crazy in contrast with each other. But the showrunner said that they are going to specify they will have their own personalities, and that's how you will recognize them on screen, less so than having to actually see their individual colors. So it'll be very interesting because it's almost like having 9 other characters if they're going to be that distinct. What do you think about that?
Wow, dude. Yeah, that's the fact that we got the 3. The 3 main dragons. It was Dracarys Rhaenyra. So in Standard Thrones, it was Dracarys. No, Dracarys is what she tells it. Yes, Drogon. Sorry. Drogon, Rhaegal.
And her brother.
And what?
And she named the other one after her brother.
Oh, Viserys. Yeah. Oh, interesting. That's right. That's so funny. So you have those 3. That's all we'd ever saw. And the other thing, too, is that what's fascinating about, all these different dragons, all the stuff that Martin was saying, is that, we're going to get, we were talking about this the other day, that we're finally going to get to see them not just in the context of this mother of dragons who the Targaryens dragons had been gone for how long was it? Hundreds of years. It must have been. Yeah, literally, because now we know there were dragons 200 years before that. So hundreds of years there hadn't been any dragons. And then it was like this kind of like myth, like people didn't really believe. And that's kind of a really fascinating thing now that I'm on season 1 of Thrones, talking about how, this does connect to House of the Dragon, of course, is that like that show opens with this threat of north of the wall and then this threat to the east, all of which is based in what people think is myth. So people think this shit is fantasy, and the story is that it's not. And that it's like disbelief and then have faith and all this other stuff. So it's just a fascinating way to kick off an epic story like that, is to have these threats kind of, Westeros is being flanked by these myths almost.
Yep, the monsters, as Cersei said.
Yeah, the monsters, the myths, they're all real. So be it.
Let them destroy each other.
Let the monsters kill each other.
So... about the dragons.
Yes. Dragons, you say?
Dragons. Yeah, so we do not have a confirmed list of the 9. I can tell you what my thoughts are if you want. You want to hear? Want to hear mine?
Yes.
All right. So,
watch the table.
From the book, there are 17 that the Targaryens have. There are more in the book, but specifically that House Targaryen has. I would
17.
Yeah, and it's the different sides too. When they start their civil war, which is the Greens versus the Blacks, each side has a certain number of them. So I personally think that we should see Syrax, and I believe we saw him in the final trailer. That's Rhaenyra's dragon. We should see Sunfire and Dreamfire. Caraxes, which we've seen in the trailer. He's also known as the Bloodworm. That's Daemon Targaryen's dragon. And Vermithor seems very likely. Vagar, that's the last dragon from the original ones that showed up and conquered Westeros.
Oh.
Yes, that's Queen Visenya's dragon.
Okay.
Sea Smoke, I love Sea Smoke. I think we see him in the trailer.
Sea Smoke? Like
yeah, Sea Smoke.
C?
No. Like the ocean. Yeah.
Okay.
Tessarion, we should see him. That's the Blue Queen. And the last one is Meleys, which is Rhaenyra's dragon. It's the queen who never was, which we see her in the trailer, so it makes sense that we'd see her dragon. I'm not sure if they would show anyone else specifically, but I think the ones I'm most excited to see is definitely Dreamfire and Sunfire. Dreamfire doesn't get too much like actual battle moments in the book, but since they're showing the dragons and plan to use them a little bit more, they could actually have scenes where Dreamfire is being used, which would be awesome.
Oh man, this is just, and so the dragon pit thing too, speaking of dragons, is that it's like the ruins that we saw in season 8 of what looked like the ruins of the Colosseum at King's Landing, that the dragon pits are going to be like full going strong. And what's, we saw the small skulls of the dragons because they weren't treating them the way that they weren't training them in the way that they should have been, and they just let them get small and die off. Whereas the Targaryens, we're going to be seeing kind of the golden age of dragondom in Westeros.
Yeah, you should see some very big ones, especially Vagar should be huge as a dragon.
And just to see that whole Colosseum filled in, like I wonder if they're going to do. So if it's a pit, was that a contained space, like a dome?
Yeah, it's like it looks like an actual dome from what it's described as, and I think you briefly see it in one of the trailers. And they have their own little slots with cages where the dragons sit, and there are like attendants that feed them and such. That's only the dragons that are actually there near the Red Keep. There are a bunch more dragons over on Dragonstone because that's where Rhaenyra is most of the time. So you're going to see a lot of dragons there.
So yeah, of course you're going to go back and forth to Dragonstone because, yeah, that's the home of the Targaryens. And then when they take power, obviously King's Landing.
Yeah, which I think where we're starting, most of them are going to be in King's Landing. It's not going to be until the separation, when he's having trouble deciding who his heir is, that you're going to see them separate and go in that direction.
Oh man, I'm so pumped. I am so pumped. So yeah, real quick IMDb trivia. We got directed by Miguel Sapochnik. So that's, again, the guy, Hard Home, stuff like that. We also have directors Greg Yatanis, Claire Kilner, and Geta V. Pastal. Let's see what Greg Yatanis did. He is directing 3 episodes of House of the Dragon. See if he did any Thrones ones. Anyway, while we talk about that, while we look that up, I was thinking, in Thrones season 1, again, people still think that White Walkers and supernatural forces beyond the wall are fairy tales. Like, it's been so long since they've been attacked full force by any kind of White Walkers. Bran says in the first episode, he's like, he said he saw a White Walker. And then Sean Bean's like, madmen see things or whatever. And he's trying to, but it's so good when Bran's just like, so he's lying. And Sean Bean just kind of looks away. He's like, yeah, baby. Right. So this is, where we're set up. But because it's so long, like where do you think this 200 years prior, where do you think those supernatural forces, what role do you think they're going to be playing in this, if any?
So I'm not sure exactly what role they're going to have in the show, or at least in this season. I know there is a part in the book where one of the dragons, the Targaryens are known for flying out to check out other kingdoms, and one of them takes their dragon all the way to the wall, and they try to fly beyond the wall, but the dragon refuses. It turns around. So it seems to kind of sense that it doesn't want to be over there for some reason. But I don't know if they're going to actually expand on that, because we don't know how much stuff they're going to actually change or adjust. We might see more of the mystical elements, like see Children of the Forest, and maybe they'll start showing the others, the White Walkers. That's what they're called in the books. And
but the Children of the Forest were way before all that.
But they're still around, because remember, they're the ones that were actually helping Bran and them. So yeah, and we could also see the Three-Eyed Raven, maybe. That's a possibility.
I'm not Bran anymore. I'm the Three-Eyed Raven. Oh, God. As long as we don't ever have to hear someone say, I'm not blank anymore, I'm the Three-Eyed Raven, then I am totally fine seeing some other version of a warging Three-Eyed Raven. Ugh. So it looks like this guy, again, Gary Yatenis, he's directing 3 episodes of House of the Dragon. He didn't do any other Thrones from what I can see here, but he has done some geeky stuff. Twilight Zone, he directed 6 episodes of the Twilight Zone, so that's pretty cool. You do want, ideally, someone who's done some geek stuff to bring some flavor to it, right? And then we have, to jump to showrunners, we have Ryan J. Condal. So he is the creator, along with, obviously, George R. R. Martin, all 10 episodes. Yeah, we probably should have said that. It's 10 episodes of Season 1. Mm-hmm. Do you know about any green light situation of Season 2?
I do not yet. I didn't see anything official.
I guess while we're here, so again, this is an intro episode. We'll probably go on a little more tangents and talk about production stuff, IMDb, for example, like we're talking about now, predictions, stuff like that. But, I mean, while we're here, it's like, what do you think with this upheaval at HBO Max? Not to get into specifics of DC, even though this is a DC channel technically, but like with all the HBO Max upheaval, let's call it at Warner Media, or now it's Warner Discovery.
Warner Discovery.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think this is going to get affected?
I'm not sure. I'd like to say that they may wait and see how the season's progressing, and then if it does well, they're going to keep doing it. I don't see why not. It's their moneymaker, or at least it was their big moneymaker.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking beforehand. It's like this is the most successful television show in history, which is like pretty. I'm sure maybe you could make arguments and financial comparisons or whatever. Like, so don't hold me to that, but like, I wouldn't be surprised. It's estimated that, I heard a couple of these facts today. It's estimated that the show earned HBO billions of dollars with a B. I don't doubt that either. So I think that, yeah, that's true. Like if it's popular, they'll probably keep it on HBO Max. And if not, because a lot of that talk too of like, this is getting scrapped, that's getting scrapped, from Zaslav was about, who was the CEO of Warner Discovery now. A lot of that was like, this is going to go theatrical. This is staying on HBO Max. So I think, meaning like series on HBO Max, movies theatrical. That's just for DC, speaking for DC. But maybe if that's kind of his formula here, then like, if it's a popular thing, and it's already a show, like maybe it'll be unaffected. Either way, back to this. At least we know we got 10 episodes to talk about for the next. Yeah. We'll be here for 3 months is the point. We're going to do this episode. We'll probably do like a follow-up as well. So like 12 episodes at least of the podcast. We also might do some regular Thrones after that. Who knows?
Sure. We could.
Yeah. We got the comic shop. We got plenty of nerds around. We have no shortage of nerds around here.
That's very true. Big Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's going to be cool. So who else? We have George R. R. Martin, Sarah Hess. I'm not seeing anyone else as a showrunner. So it seems to be, in terms of creator showrunners, we got Ryan Condal and George R. R. Martin. Like you said, I mean, that's the fact that Martin is as involved as he is, meaning a lot more than, let's call it post season 4 from what I heard, of regular Thrones, because after season 4, apparently he really dipped out.
Yeah, well, and they start deviating from the source material because they don't have it.
The devil, you say.
Yeah. Well, they run out. We got no more book. We don't want to use magic.
That was just... Anyway. So, did you hear about the never-released series with Naomi Watts? We talked about this actually before, and you said you had never heard of it, right?
No, I had none.
Yeah, so apparently it was a story of The Long Night. I forget the title of it. I don't have it in front of... Oh, Blood Moon. Yeah, so it was the story of what's in the books called The Long Night, and it apparently was so bad. They shot a pilot of it, and it was so bad that they wouldn't even show it to George R. R. Martin.
That really doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
And you know what? If it was bad and they refused to show it to George R. R. Martin, or it was even in that ballpark, then it's kind of like... good. And it's also like, I'm not glad that happened. I'm like, like you failed at Thrones again. It's just, look, it could have been well written. It could have been well directed. It could have been well acted. But if one of those 3 things wasn't that, it's like, if you don't have all the ingredients, sometimes it's just, shit just doesn't come together. It's like, these are big projects. It was an estimated $10 million for the pilot. It was like a test pilot, and they spent $10 million and we're like, nope.
That's pretty awful.
Yeah, that I think is, again, don't hold me to these facts. This is just what I have heard about this, but I did hear this from 2 different sources, that there was a Naomi Watts led, and so Long Night, what's interesting, back to kind of House of the Dragon here. House of the Dragon, again, is 200 years prior to the events of Game of Thrones. This was 8,000 years, they said, like way back. So more fantasy than...
That'd be like with the first men, like before the wall went up. Yeah, that's way back.
Yeah, people were talking about like pre-wall, if not like it would end with the beginning of the construction of the wall, like that far back.
That's true.
It's nuts. So apparently that was, just speaking of, prequel series, other series, there was... And then there were 2 more I actually saw this interview. It was like Martin on stage talking about 2 other series as well as spinoffs. So like...
Where's the Jon Snow one? They're doing the Jon Snow...
Yeah, but he didn't even mention that one. So there might even be more. Yeah, that's right. There's a Jon Snow one.
Yeah, because they confirmed that they were getting Kit Harington to come back for it.
That I do remember that news.
So that'll be interesting, because I don't know what they intend to do. I guess do like crazy adventures while he's north of the wall. Perhaps. Maybe we'll bounce between other characters just to see the state of the realm.
What also confuses me there is that would be a sequel series.
Technically, yeah.
And Martin...
Beyond where there would be at on the last book, per se.
Because it just confuses me too, and maybe they changed their mind. They could at any point. But Martin was like, he said all prequels, at least whenever that interview was that I saw him on stage. He was like, all prequels.
Well, so there's a lot of cool ones to do. You could definitely do the lead up to the conquest of Westeros. So that's when Aegon actually shows up with the 3 dragons.
Aegon Targaryen.
Yeah, because that's where there's a lot of the fighting, and you see a lot of the houses. Mm-hmm. One of the other big ones would probably be the Blackfyre Rebellion. The Blackfyres are Targaryens that got banished, basically. It's stuff that they didn't really do too much of in the show, because like with the Golden Company... But the Blackfyre Rebellion is a big deal in the Fire and Blood. And they kind of mention it a little bit, too, in the Song of Ice and Fire novels. So those are the two settings I would pick if they're going to do 2 more prequel ones. They could do beyond what they're doing with House of the Dragons, but if they're doing 10-year jump and the event Dance of the Dragons takes place from 101 AC to like 129 when it's resolved, they can't do too many more jumps depending on how many more seasons they want to do. So that's like a big thing. Maybe they leave it to like a 5-year jump, or season 2, they don't do any jumps at all. Maybe that's the whole meat of everything. And then we just go on and do that. It's possible they change it based on reception of season 1. No idea at this point.
I mean, yeah, reception's probably a key word, especially with this Zaslav guy in office now. It's like in office, like he's the president, because it's like at this point he has more power than the president. They probably have more money over there now that they merged with Discovery than the United States. But like this guy, you know, if something is not popular, if something's not making them money, he literally he's done with it. So based on the fact that this is sensitive content for them, it's sensitive IP, at least in terms of audience reaction. I mean, no one wanted that ending.
True. And I think that's why he's probably changing the ending himself. I think he said in an interview that it was going to be different. We don't know by how much. I have no idea.
Yeah, so I'm looking right now for the top cast here. Oh, yeah. So we have 2 different actresses playing, what's her name? She's the main character.
Rhaenyra.
Yeah, so we have, again, you said there's a time jump, right? So there's a 10-year time jump, so you would need to have like 2 different actors. That's just such a fascinating, I think, thing that, like, from performance, from production, writing, I think it's just such a unique thing to do.
Yeah, that is, especially within a season. They are going to get 2 different performances for a character.
Within a season, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if she's just the only one. There might be other ones too, because some of the other characters are actually really young around her time as well, and then they'll age up equally. But she's the only one that I know of for sure.
Yeah, so Millie Alcock is young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. And then we have Emma Darcy is older Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. She's 13 young Rhaenyra?
I believe so.
Yeah. And then then 23. So both obviously young, but in medieval times, you know, they got to consider this. The other thing we probably should have mentioned is that a big important crux of this whole story is, or I think you actually did mention this, that it's a time in Targaryen history where women can't rule. You can be queen, you can be the wife of the king, but you can't. And so, yeah, you did mention this, right? Okay. I just want to make sure we covered that because that's super important to all this, that it's like, apparently the story, it's kind of 2 girls. I heard a podcast today. They were saying it follows 2 girls, 2 boys, which again would be Daemon Targaryen, who's Matt Smith. Mm-hmm. And then we have, sorry, go ahead.
Early on, it should be
complete the sentence.
Yeah. Early on, it should be the king, Viserys. Yeah. The 2 girls, it should be Alicent Hightower.
Yes, Alicent Hightower.
Yeah, she's the daughter of Otto Hightower. Now, the Hightowers, that's a fun one because...
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think I know where you're...
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going with this.
They're a very prominent family, yeah. And they're established in Old Town. In Game of Thrones, we only go to Old Town when we go to see where the Maesters are from.
Well,
that's where Sam goes.
Who are the Hightowers in Game of Thrones, though?
That's Otto. Otto's the Hightower.
No, I know, but that's the Tullys, isn't it?
No, the Tullys are Fur House Tully.
But what's the family? I heard on a podcast that Hightower is like the old world name of a Game of Thrones family.
Because the main Hightowers married out. So, but where we're going, it's just based in Old Town for that. And that's the main thing that we're focusing on. Oh. And that's where the Maesters are. That's all that fun stuff.
No, I remember that. It's just, I'm going to look it up because they're, yeah, it was just because we're trying to figure out, okay. that fascinated me that they were, and we're getting a lot of that with other families too. Like Baratheons are in this. We're getting Starks are in this, right?
Yeah, Rickon Stark should be cast right now, and Jason.
Wait, so not a useless Rickon?
Yeah, actual Rickon. The one he's named after, I believe.
Oh, God. Why would you name a useless character after a good one?
Because he came first. This one's the first one, so.
I love it. I guess, yeah, season 1, episode 2. She's like, Rob starts like, Rickon needs you. And even his mom's like, does he? I don't care about even Rickon. I'm his mom. Yeah, so the Hightowers, you got it?
For the Hightowers, it's Manfred Hightower. He's the son of Adam.
But it's not saying the relation to Modern Thrones.
Let's see.
It sounds like I'm grilling the guy here. I'm wondering if the person on that podcast was right. Anyway.
I mean, it has been a while since reading that. I was mainly brushing up on Fire and Blood.
Yeah. Well, correct us. I'm sure you guys will. It's the internet. Let us know what the relation is to the Hightowers here. All right, so I just got a couple more bullet points, and we'll be out of here soon. Sounds good?
Yeah, that seems good.
All right, so we actually do have... Oh, here she is. All right, we do have a guest. All right, you see her, Steven? Her name is Siri. Okay. Hey, Siri, are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Kaelin Dier Morgulis.
Okay.
I mean, last time I shit you not, spoke Dothraki to us.
She was learning Dothraki.
Yeah, she's like, I'm still learning Dothraki. And said something in Dothraki. I promised you guys that we would at some point get guests. I didn't promise this episode. Look what I did. I got us a guest.
I guess she counts.
She counts. Again, we got some dragon activities coming up. Here on HOD Pod, a House of the Dragon podcast, we are going to be live from the Dragon Pit.
The Dragon Pit. Which dragons killed the most sheep?
See, that's going to be an audio-only series because we can't actually show you us getting devoured by dragons, but you will hear the dragons. It's going to be a full action audio adventure.
Yes.
I also don't have the money to produce that visually, but...
It'll burn.
We talked about music. Oh, yeah, actually the proper name, another proper name possibly for the Dragon Deadpool would be the Fantasy Dragon Deadpool. Yep. That was it. Anything else on House of the Dragon coming up? Anything else you want to cover on our intro episode of HOD Pod?
Not yet. I'm just anxious to see the first episode, and then we'll have lots to talk about after the first one.
Damn right, lots to talk about. I guess we didn't say this yet, but if you're a fan, you probably know. But yeah, August 21st is the premiere episode. What is it? 9, 10?
I believe it's 9.
And you were saying we could probably catch it on HBO Max the night before.
Sometimes I'll release it like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Like, yeah.
Steven will be ready.
Yes.
We were honestly trying to get this to scheduling wise to record Sunday and just be like, totally fresh. Either way, we think, again, a lot of people are probably not going to watch it until Sunday anyway. So Monday morning, even though audio, again, might not get out until Tuesday, we still think Monday morning's pretty good kind of return time on an after show.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. Gives us time to also dwell on the episode too.
Also watch it more than once.
Yeah, I intend to watch it more than once. Well, in my household too, like the guys have different schedules, and that's why I had to rewatch Game of Thrones like 4 separate times recently. It's like, gotta show them.
So good of a friend to you.
Oh yeah. Well, And when they tried to not watch season 8, I was like, oh no, you have to suffer like the rest of us. Why can't I just stop at season 7? It's like, because it doesn't end right there.
You're like, I feel sick every night that how many episodes of the season? I plan on being sick for the next 8 nights. So check out Davincis Dreamworks too here in sunny Jensen Beach, Florida, the home of Fantasy Dragon Pit. Dragon Deadpool.
Dragon betting. Bet on which dragon you think kills the most, which dragon dies first in season 1.
But yeah, this is literally my local comic shop. This is my LCS, as they call it. And it is so awesome to record here. Thank you so much for having us record.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is the D&D area. We're already in the dragon area. This is the Dragon Pit.
We're in the Dragon Pit.
Oh, yeah.
So again, subscribe to both audio and here on the channel for now, Above and Batman Beyond, youtube.com/Above and Batman Beyond. Audio, HOD Pod, a House of the Dragon podcast. I guess it's probably worth reiterating we are an unofficial podcast of House of the Dragon, but yeah, it's important to say that, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, for now. Just consider us like, what we were talking about? Hot pies, hot takes. Hot pies, hot takes. Ari, did you hear that news about that dragon? Well, down there in Winter Hell.
Oh yeah, what's your Deadpool on Viserys? If I get wrong, are you going to bake me into a pie? Like the phrase.
Oh no, the Frey special? Oh,
The Frey thumb special.
that should have been the thumbnail. It should have been the thumb pie.
Thumb pie!
This is rather good.
My God, so much fun to have. And yeah, I guess hopefully one last thing that I keep lamenting about, I don't think we've done it live. I just really hope we don't get any, I don't know how to ride a dragon.
I hope we just actually get big moments that are well lit this time. Don't want any more Battle at Winterfell episodes, please.
Well, and quite honestly, real quick, because I know we're ending, but it's like, speaking of actual dragons and seriousness here, it's like, yes, I hope we don't get crappy dialogue scenes and whole new world dragon flying, but as like charming as I think they kind of had it, because we didn't really talk about CG yet, so just real quick, it's like never-ending story flying out of that Astapor Coliseum was, it kind of was like, I liked it. I loved it. I cried, but I was like, wow, good thing I'm an 80s fantasy film guy.
Yeah.
Like, good thing I love Labyrinth and Neverending Story, because otherwise I really hope they improved. Specifically, the dragons were fine for me most of the time. I mean, 90% of the time for me in Game of Thrones. For me it was, and again, I still haven't watched like the last episodes of season 8, but the dragon riding, I hope they've improved that technology.
Yeah, well, and this time they actually have seats and mounts. They're not just holding on to like their back spikes and be like, I hope this works. It's all Daenerys doing barrel rolls, going 130 miles an hour or something into the ocean.
Wait, we're not going to get another, so what do I hold on to?
Whatever you can. And hopefully no more 360 no-scoping dragons one-shotting them off the ocean. Please, let's get some actual dragon fights.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, dude, the fact that there's a civil war, we're going to get dragon fights, man.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about how each Targaryen has their own dragon.
Most of them. I think the Rhaenyra side, she has the most battle-ready dragons because some of them are too small to be ridden, so they're going to still be in the Colosseum. And the Dragonstone has a bunch of dragons that are there without riders. So eventually they're going to have to find riders for them. What you going to do? Plus, the Shorers didn't mention this. They only mentioned 17 Targaryen dragons, but in the book there are 20 dragons because there are dragons not owned by anybody roaming around. And who knows, we might see some of them. Including my favorite.
Jurassic dragons?
Oh, yeah. Including my favorite, the dark brown poopy looking dragon. That's gonna be your favorite too, Benjamin. Like, what's that poopy dragon? It's like, that's the best one. It's the easiest to tame. Give him a Big Mac, he'll be your friend.
I mean, speaking of poopy dragons, as long as it's good as Jurassic, as long as it's good as Dominion, that new one, then I'm totally good. Did I tell you my Dominion story? We'll do that off mic. Anyway, could have been that, but I'm thinking it's the movie. Anyway, subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you for embarking on yet another journey into the Seven Realms, into a new realm, out of Gotham City, out of Neo Gotham, and into Westeros. And again, this might not continue to be on this channel specifically, but figure I might as well launch it here. If there's any Above and Batman Beyond Thrones fans, I'm sure there's some crossover there. So let's do our send-off. Are you ready for our send-off, Steven?
Yeah, I'm ready. This has been Steven.
That enthusiasm. That's what we have here.
I'm always ready.
No, Steven's awesome. And I have been Benjamin. Thank you for joining us in entering
House of the Dragon.
How did we do? How was that, son? Awesome. Thank you again for having me, man.
Of course, man.
All right. I'll see you guys later.